I found a notebook while I was camping by aligulasAquarium. A while ago, I was out camping, and we spent the week in a cabin. On the last day, I found a floorboard that wasn't nailed in. I pulled it up, and there was a notebook underneath it. It's taken a while to copy everything down inside it, but here's its entire contents. June 3rd, 2014. I figured since I'm going to be staying here all summer, I might as well keep a journal of some sort, so I can show Bill, Alan and John what I did every day. It's really the only way since there's no reception here, wherever here is. Since today was the first day, we pretty much just set everything up out front, since there weren't enough bunks. Honestly, who would rather sleep out in a tent than on the floor? June 4th, 2014. Tyler and I decided to take a walk in the woods today. Somehow he managed to get lost, even though he was right behind me. We looked for about 3 hours before he walked up behind me and complained that I'd walked ahead. I asked him where he'd been for the past 3 hours, and he said that he was literally right behind me a minute ago, and stopped to tie his shoe which had come undone. When he looked back, I was a little farther ahead and he had to run to catch up. The weirdest thing was his watch, which was 3 hours behind mine. June 5th, 2014. Lucas says something was outside the tent last night. However, this apparently occurred while Tyler had gone to use the bathroom. The idiot thinks he can scare us by setting his watch back and making spooky noises at night. Other than that, he hasn't done anything like it today. In fact, he went out to the lake and we spent the morning playing cards. When he comes back, we're going to try and get him to stop. June 6th, 2014. Tyler came back from the lake when it was almost dark. His clothes were wet, even though he bought a pair of trunks. Must have been too lazy to walk 5 minutes back to the camp and back. Today, nothing eventful happened. If we've already run out of things to do by day 4, Mark and Dean better make a trip out pretty soon to get some stuff, or we'll spend the whole summer mapping the woods behind the campground. There's a few pages ripped out between these next entries. June 12th, 2014. Tyler's out in the woods again. He's been gone since morning. Dean is getting out flashlights for everyone. It's getting dark and we only have one. Mark's out looking for him, with the only one we have right now. I swear to God, if he's pulling this crap again and his watch is set back to when he went out, he's staying in the cabin for the rest of the month. June 13th, 2014. We couldn't find him, and we searched all night. Lucas says he heard him, but he wasn't there. Mark and Dean think he just got tired in camping and walked back home. I feel really bad for Lucas though. He's more upset about it than he wants them to know. He and Tyler have been really good friends since first grade, and the rest of us only joined this group a couple years ago. June 15th, 2014. Something is definitely going on. Yesterday, I went out to look for him on my own at 1 PM. I actually found him around 1:30. He asked if we could buy more toilet paper because the outhouse had run out, so I shouldn't use it. I told him that he'd been gone for 3 days, and he said it had only been 10 minutes. His watch was also 3 days behind. I didn't care what shit he'd been up to. He was back and he was safe. So, I got back to the camp and everyone was relieved that he was back, even if they were still mad at him. Then I heard something weird. I can't believe you went out to look for him for a whole day. What? I've only been gone for like half an hour. But he was right. I've been gone for almost 24 hours. No one is going back into the fucking woods. Now that it's happened to me, I know Tyler hasn't been trying to scare us. At least not since after the tent thing. June 16th, 2014. Last night something was tapping on the cabin. Lucas and Tyler both say they stayed in the tent all night. It could have been both of them, but after all the time skip shit, I'm ready to believe it was a monster or something. Dean and Mark don't want to leave, so we're pretty much stuck here since they're the only ones who can drive. Tyler and Lucas want to move into the cabin for the rest of the trip, but the others won't let them. Hopefully things will go back to normal tomorrow. June 17th, 2014. It was windy today, which is odd. There are rarely storms of any kinds out here. Dean said the wind sounded like someone talking. He's decided to leave at the end of the month, and Mark agrees with him. Looks like the trip's been cut short, which is a relief for Tyler and me especially, since we've actually had to deal with the missing days. Might take a break from updating since all the exciting stuff seems to have passed. It's nice that I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. June 20th, 2014. The wind hasn't stopped. It's quiet, but it's there. It's clearest by the lake. It almost sounds like talking down there. It's a good thing we're only spending like 10 more days here. The tapping on the cabin is back. June 21st, 2014. Last night Dean went out to use the bathroom, and he hasn't returned. This time shit is harmless. You don't even move from the spot you were in when you get teleported into the future or whatever. Just hope it doesn't last longer than Tyler's 4-day record, or who knows how long he could be gone. We aren't leaving without him, so I really hope he doesn't make us stay longer than we want to. June 22nd, 2014. The air here suddenly feels wrong somehow. I don't really know how to describe it. The wind stopped, but it still sounds windy. The tapping was random before, but now it's spaced out intentionally. It sounds like some sort of lullaby. It still only happens at night. I can't wait to get out of this place. If Dean gets back the day before we agreed on, we're just leaving anyway. June 23rd, 2014. We heard him last night. Dean was outside saying things. We went out of the cabin, but no one was there. He kept talking. Lucas said something was wrong and we should get back inside. We did, and I noticed something. The tapping seemed impatient. Dean's voice swore outside. Something started walking towards the door. I locked it, and when the thing reached it, it couldn't open the door. Whatever it was walked away. 2 taps followed, and then a bang. I don't know what this thing is, but it is mad at us. June 25th, 2014. Yesterday I went down to the lake and I lost 6 hours. Nothing else happened until it got dark. I was on my way to the outhouse, and then Dean suddenly appeared in front of me. I told him he'd been gone for 3 days. I told him he'd been gone for 3 days. He seemed a bit scared. He still had to go, so I let him first. While I waited, I heard the tapping sound again. The sound of wind came back. I waited 10 minutes before I knocked on the door. No one answered. I opened the door, and it was a fucking mess. Dean was dead. Something had ripped a hole straight through him. He was covered in claw marks. There were large chunks of flesh removed from his arms, like something had been eating him. There were boards carefully removed from the back of the outhouse. Whatever did this was close. I turned around to run, but I saw it, or rather, I saw something. Farther down the path, something was looking at me. I only saw a shape, a place where the darkness was darker than what was around it. I heard a voice that sounded like wind, almost like a whisper. It told me to come closer. Then Dean's voice told me to come closer. Then Tyler's. Then my own. Suddenly, it was morning. Another fucking time skip. But this one might have saved me. June 26th, 2014. Dean's body is gone. The boards from the outhouse are still removed. And there is blood inside and out. We're leaving as soon as we finish packing everything up. I am not bringing this back home with me. I want to forget this ever happened. If you ever find this, leave immediately. Nothing good can come of this place. There's a reason this campsite is so far away from the others, and no one ever comes out here. There's a fucking creature living in those woods, and this whole place belongs to it. I don't know what the hell the time skips are, but even if they aren't dangerous, they're creepy as fuck. And that's where it ends. While I was out in the woods on that trip, I did see some things. Claw marks on trees and an outhouse which had clearly been repaired sometime since then. While out in the woods, I thought I heard someone. I also heard the wind, though there was none. And every night, I heard something tapping at the cabin door.